Recording. All right, so welcome in everybody. I am super excited to have you today. This is High Roller Talk, a Q&A with the design team lead of Toontown Corporate Clash, Crazy. So we're gonna go ahead and give Crazy a call right now and get started on our Q&A. So at the end of the Q&A, we will open up the floor to all of you to ask any questions that you have live. And if Crazy would like to answer them, then of course he can. But we're gonna go ahead and call Crazy right now.
Yo, hello, can you hear me?
Hello, welcome, how are you?
I'm good, how are you doing, Rosie?
Good, let me just make sure that everybody can hear you okay. Sound check from anybody who's in chat. Can you guys hear Crazy okay?
Testing, 1, 2, 3, can you guys hear me? Hello?
All
hello,
right.
hello, testing.
Awesome, so they said volume is good, which is amazing. So how are you today, Crazy?
I'm doing good. Would you like me to introduce myself?
Sure, I would love for you to introduce yourself. Thank you so much for being here.
Sure, so what's up everybody? My name is Crazy. I'm also known as Michael Bacon. I am currently the game design lead for Corporate Clash. And take it away, Rosie.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you. And I know everybody is super excited to have you here as well and talk about the much anticipated High Roller, which is personally one of my absolute favorite managers. I don't know if you knew this, but High Roller is actually the very first thing I ever did on Clash. I literally created a tune and went straight into a High Roller. That's it.
No way, yeah. That's insane, what?
Yeah. So that was my first introduction to Corporate Clash. I didn't know anything else, didn't know the game, didn't know the mechanics of the game, any of the gags, and I'm really excited to learn a little bit more about High Roller. But I am curious, how did you become involved with the Toontown Corporate Clash team, and what is your current role, and what does it entail with the team?
So, as I mentioned before, I am the game design lead. My team is responsible for designing and crafting all the experiences in the game, such as new managers, new features, gag balancing, progression, all that fun stuff. As for how I got involved with the game and the team, I have a pretty long story to tell. So, like most people here, I played Toontown Online as a kid, and I absolutely loved it. But I was really heartbroken when it shut down. That sadness did turn into happiness though when TTR was announced, and eventually Clash released their trailer and it just blew my mind. It seemed like everything I ever wanted from Toontown as a kid, new gag track, new cog type, new bosses, expanded gameplay. It just seemed so unbelievable, And so I started playing Clash in university and I became friends with someone down the hall of my dorm building. And he introduced me to his brother, and I ended up finding out that his brother also played Clash and he was also a staff member for the team. Like, what a crazy coincidence, dude.
That is such a crazy coincidence.
Yeah. So that guy's name was Windoges. I don't know if that rings a bell to a lot of people. He's an OG. He played a lot of Clash back in the day. But he was the owner of Zapcant, and he taught me how to use old Zap. We became really good friends, and yeah. There was a QA for partners for 1.3. And he managed to invite me to it, and the game designers at that time loved my feedback so much they sent me an application, and then the rest is history.
That's amazing. And how long ago was that?
That was, I believe, 2 years ago, 2.5.
Wow, talk about small world.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, the chances of that happening, like, it's insane.
That's awesome though, and super exciting. I'm actually gonna have us just jump off of here because I don't think that it's gonna let us stay on here. We could just stand on top of the couch. Matt had a good idea and just like stand on top of it.
That's genius, I love that.
Yes, I love that. So we'll just go like this. Look, we're like giving a speech. But that's so cool how you got involved with the team. I love seeing what everybody's backstory of how they got to Clash is, because I think a lot of people play Toontown Rewritten direct from TTO, but a lot of times people don't know that Toontown Corporate Clash is this awesome other platform, and I was definitely in that boat that I had no idea what Clash was until until I started streaming on Twitch. And now I love it so much. And I can't imagine not playing Toontown Corporate Clash because it's all of the what ifs to me, right? It's like, well, what if Cogs could do this? Or what if Toons could do this? And I love that so much. And I'm so excited to be able to fight Pace Setter one of these days because that's the only manager I have yet to fight. So I am excited for High Roller to come back. And I do want to ask you some questions about High Roller as the game design lead. And then we'll open it up to anybody in chat if they have any other questions for you, okay?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what I'm here for, here to ask questions. And also, what rank are you for kudos, like for DDL? I'm surprised you haven't done pace yet.
I'm 6.
6?
I'm
Close.
only
You're
6.
getting there.
I'm getting close. I just have to fight a lot of cogs, but I did just unlock Chainsaw, so I'm getting closer every day. And I did say at the beginning of my stream today that I am planning to do Pace Setter by end of day tomorrow, hopefully, if we can kind of speed through all of the ranks, but it'll be at the end of this week for sure. That's my goal.
All right, that's exciting. I'm excited to see that.
Yes, we will see. But I am curious, why was High Roller actually added to the game, and what was the original idea behind the manager's role in the game?
Well, I have a lot of details to share. So, not too long after 1.3's release, the team got together and we were like, April is fast approaching. What the heck are we doing for April Toons? So, at first, we were kind of debating on bringing back Count Urfit, but the 1.3 update changed so much about the game that if we were to bring him back, he would have been needed to be redone, like from the ground up, you know? Like, the battle system changed, he used an old body model, like a lot of things would have had to been redone from scratch. So instead, we were like, let's create a new manager. And so, someone on the team thought that Duck Shuffler's unseriousness fit perfectly for April Toons. So we wanted to create a boss akin to like a super Duck Shuffler in a way. Like unironically, the first idea was to create a recolored Duck Shuffler, but like 10 times bigger.
No way.
Yeah. And instead of like a game show, High Roller was actually supposed to be in a casino in Cashbot HQ. But over time, we switched to the idea of him being a fusion of Duck Shuffler plus Major Player and a game show. So
that's awesome. I can't even imagine that. There being like a little casino inside of Cashbot HQ. That would be so cool.
It was an awesome idea at the time, but we switched over.
How did you guys decide to do it on Tenor Terrace?
I think to save resources and instead of having to create a brand new lobby and all that, we decided to just reuse Major Player's lobby.
That's awesome. Well, and I know when I first did Major Player, obviously it was sometime after I had done High Roller, and I didn't realize that they were in the same lobby, so I always thought that this building was only for High Roller until I actually unlocked Major Player, which was really cool because then every single time I came back here, I'm like, oh wait, it's High Roller's lobby. But when I did Major Player, I'm like, wait, there's a lot of similarities between these fights. Do you feel like people who had not done Major Player, that there was a lot of kind of like sneak peeks as to what the Major Player fight would be by doing a High Roller?
Oh, definitely. Like the Phase 2 teased the Hollywoods. I believe you could just kind of see like the overall like mood and vibe of High Roller that you would get something similar to that in Major Player. I think the fight for Major Player played out a little differently, at least besides the Hollywoods. So I wouldn't say it teased it that well. But yeah, besides like the mood in the second round, that's all I have to say.
I personally have to say Major Player is one of my absolute favorite managers, if not my favorite manager. I'm waiting for him to give me the rose, but we haven't made it to that point in our relationship yet.
How many defeats you at?
I don't know. I'd actually have to look. Probably not that many. I think I've only done it like maybe 15 times. So I've got a long way to go. I know some people have done managers like 70 plus times without getting a drop. So I won't complain.
One of my friends, I think it took them over 100 plus pace just to get the shredder. So obviously there's a pity system where you'll get it at 100 if you somehow make it there. I hope it doesn't get that bad, but you never know. We'll see.
I'll start to get like a little eye twitch. But I know you did answer this question a little bit already, but I was curious, why were Duck Shuffler and Major Player chosen as the duo that eventually made for the limited time manager of High Roller? And were there any other manager combinations that were considered before landing on Buck and Dave? I know you mentioned a little bit about why Duck Shuffler was chosen, but can you go a little bit more into why Major Player was chosen?
Sure. So, like I mentioned before, we wanted Hyrule to be like an overclocked version of Duck Shuffler, so no matter what, Buck was going to be a part of it. But we also picked Dave because he's just very beloved in the community, and he's also super unserious, you know? Like, he has that perfect vibe for April Toons. There just wasn't any other manager combinations considered because the Dave and Buck combo just works so well. Like, I don't think you could have made a better combo for April Toons, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And I feel like Dave is one of those managers that just kind of makes you feel some type of way. And we were just talking about it that, you know, he's so untraditional from any of the other cogs that are in Toontown Corporate Clash because he's toony, right? He's like so toony and he's so fun to be around. And even at the end of the battle, it's like he's not even disappointed that you defeated him, right? He's just like, see you next time. So I love that. So another question that we have is, dice obviously play a key role in the complex high roller battle, but were there any other battle mechanics in consideration, or did the team face any balancing complications when integrating the dice mechanics into the battle?
So, I know this question's kind of primarily on dice and all that and battle mechanics, but I do think it's a good opportunity to talk about what high roller could have been and what we kind of thought about during the brainstorming phase. So, it's actually crazy. The high roller you all know and love played out completely differently when we were first cooking up the fight. Like, his fight only had 2 phases, and in the first phase, it was like a duo fight where you fought both Major Player and Duck Shuffler. We had new cheats for both of them, and there were plans for them to do things like dual team attacks, like onto the tunes, like similar to like the bros attacks from Mario and Luigi games. Like, we had a lot of crazy ideas. And instead of the tunes having all the gags, we even thought about making like a roguelike where you pick 2 at the start and you have more throughout the fight. But we all changed this due to scope reasons and other brainstormed ideas.
That's awesome.
The second phase in this iteration was where the fusion would happen, and there was a lot of other crazy mechanics planned. His spinning wheel had managers on it instead of mini games, and he would use a random ability depending on what manager the wheel spun on.
What?
Like, let's say the wheel spun on Litigator. High Roller would use Bayou Bello. Like, that would be insane, right?
That would be so crazy. Obviously, Bayou Bello is one of my favorite. I love Bayou Bello. But yeah, that's so cool. So when was it decided that that would not be the way that you guys moved forward?
Eventually we wanted to move more towards like a game show because it fits like a kind of like before I mentioned like the casino gambling thing, it was very much Duck Shuffler, but it wasn't enough Major Player, if that made sense. So we swapped to a game show because it kind of fit the balance between both of them a lot better.
That's awesome.
And yeah. And you mentioned balancing complications regarding dice. We didn't really have any because the effects of the dice were fairly simple. The most we kind of had to do was just change up the numbers. Like the Unite dice used to heal a lot more, but we reduced it because it was pretty strong. Yeah, just mostly number changes after we figured out what kind of dice we wanted.
That's awesome. And I know for me personally, that being the very first battle that I ever did in the game, that threw me for a loop because I had no idea what was going on. And it was definitely a completely separate part of the battle that you had to learn and kind of strategize with. And now I love it so much, and I'm really excited for High Roller to come back. And I'm just curious what encouraged the Clash team to make High Roller accessible to all tunes. Like I said, it was the very first thing I ever did on Clash. I literally made my tune and I fought High Roller within the same 20 minutes. So I'm just curious what encouraged the Clash team to say, hey, everyone will have access to this, regardless of their laugh, regardless of progress in the tune task or the task line, and we're just gonna give them all the gags.
So when it comes to any event or time-limited boss, we want it to be as accessible to as many players as possible. Like, imagine being a new player and you hear about this really cool new High Roller fight, but you can't do it because you don't have enough laugh or gags to take him on. Like, that would feel like pretty bad and lame, you know? So, also, as a bit of a detail, when we were first brainstorming High Roller, he actually didn't have the scaling gags. In fact, he actually just had level 6 content sync. It felt kind of like, it felt a bit boring for, you know, the kind of scope we were going for. So we created the idea of reverse content sync, where instead of having higher level tunes scaled down, we did the opposite and had low-level Toons scale up, and this just allowed anyone to try out the fight, which we thought was an amazing feat.
That is, and it is amazing because literally anybody can do it regardless of what gags they've picked, and that's what makes it so fun and so special. Also, I mean, it's kind of jarring as a new toon to have that much laugh. So I know you talked about, you know, the battle feeling a little bit boring. So how did you guys end up deciding on, hey, we're gonna make it so they have X amount of laugh, being able to do all of the gags? Was there a lot of back and forth before that? Or was it like, hey, we're just gonna make it max on everything?
So, as I mentioned before in one of the previous questions, we were thinking about like a roguelike, but it was too heavy in scope. We decided to do just giving everyone all gags just to make High Roller this sort of sandbox in a way where you could experiment with crazy, mind-boggling strats with gags, you know, especially in the first round.
Yeah.
And doing that level of giving the Toons that level of power allowed us to go crazy in phase 3 and phase 2, you know, make a fight that was very memorable and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. So this year, 2025, will be our third time seeing High Roller, which is kind of crazy that time has gone by so fast. So it'll be our third time seeing High Roller since it was first released for April Toons in 2023. So how has High Roller changed over the years?
So most people might remember that the first iteration was very, very lengthy. Like, the first groups for the fight took up to 2 hours to beat him. Like, that's insane. That's a freaking movie right there.
Oh my gosh.
You know? So last year we reduced the length of the fight significantly from 2 hours at most to, I'd say, around 45 minutes. We also completely reworked the second round. Like, instead of it just being 3 generic Hollywoods you had to defeat, you had to defeat an infinite wave of them. And the more you defeated, the higher your damage boost was for phase 3. I do know that people are kind of thinking and wondering like if there's going to be any changes this year. We do have a few small changes planned, but I can't be specific with what we're doing. But just know we're going to refine the boss even more.
That's awesome. And that's really exciting to hear. Obviously, some fun things to look forward to. I don't know if you're able to give us a specific date, but when can we expect to see the April Toons start? Because I know that it's changed a little bit over the years with April Toons. Should we expect to see that at the beginning of April this year?
The only reason why it released in May that year was because we wanted extra time to work on High Roller, and you can tell that boss required a lot of time to polish and all that. This year it'll release on April 1st because we don't have a whole new boss to create.
Sure.
So yeah, you should expect it on April 1st.
That's super exciting, and I'm so excited to be able to fight High Roller again. And of course, when there comes High Roller, we also have our beloved BoardBot HQ, which I think I speak for everyone when I say that's my favorite thing in the game, of course. So can we expect to see BoardBot HQ again this year?
Yeah, BoardBot HQ will make a return again this year. Not the BoardBot, you know, not the chairman BoardBot, but the board, you know, BoardBot.
Yes, he's tired.
Yeah, I don't want to give anyone false hope. You know what I'm saying.
And can I expect to be able to get another rejection sweater if we do see BoardBot HQ again?
I can't tell you what you'll get, but yeah, you just have to wait and see.
Okay, that's very exciting. Well, thank you so much for answering my questions. And I know that the community has a lot of really exciting questions for you as well. So this is where I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor to everybody on Twitch. If you guys have questions for Crazy that you would like to ask in regards to High Roller, we'd love to take your questions now. Otherwise, Crazy, if there's anything else that you would like to share with us, I really appreciate you being here. And it looks like we do have a question from Matt that says, can we ask anything about either of the counts? So I'm assuming he's talking about count or fit. And I actually never got to fight that manager. So will we ever be seeing them again in some sort of a rework or another fight in the future?
There's no current plans for them, but the best thing I can say is they're not retired. You know, like we specifically mentioned, like Sads is never coming back, but it's not like I don't want to say they're never coming, like Arfit and Acclaim. I don't say they're never coming back, but there's not really any plans for them at the moment.
Okay. Yeah, I never got to fight them, so I have only been blessed with the lore on the Toontown wiki. So I don't know much about them. Optikaros is asking, what were the inspiration for the lowballers?
We just wanted to give high rollers some kind of like sidekick in a way, and also we also wanted a way for players, like at least like in Toontown Central or anyone that didn't have MML access, to teleport to the fight like quickly. So we were like, what's a good funny way to do it? And we were like, the lowballers. These guys seem cool. Let's make this.
I love that. And they are super funny. The lowballer sticker is my favorite one in Clash by far. I just think it's so cute. Count Cuckoo says, what was the inspiration for the bonus round song?
Which is that the final one?
Which one are you talking about, Count Cuckoo?
Which phase is that? I believe that's the third round, right?
We'll move on to the next one before they answer that. So Zed Leaked said, curious, in the Cogs Inc. ARG, it mentions that Buck and Dave know each other. Was that because of the high roller, or was that purely a coincidence?
I feel like that's something someone on the writing team would have to answer.
Okay.
I don't know the specifics about the lore, but if the Cogs Inc. ARG mentions that, then it's definitely not because of high roller, because high roller is not canon in the lore.
So this is another manager that I have not had experience with, but GamerBro asked, is Red Hair Wing retired?
Before I answer that, they asked about the bonus round is phase 3. I wasn't the one that composed that theme. I'm not a composer, but they just wanted to create something crazy based on. Actually, I don't even know what the inspiration was. You'd have to ask the composers about that.
Okay. That would be a great question to probably put in the Clash Discord as well, don't you agree?
Oh yeah, sure. Maybe in the future you could ask that and see if someone responds.
Ellie Cat says, Michael, why do you have so much aura? I like that. I think that probably
I'm just built different.
Right, I was about to say. Probably came from birth. Oh my gosh. So First Pro says, has the Clash team made any improvements to the high roller fight in regards to memory and CPU?
I feel like the issues regarding optimization is just a problem with the engine itself. The fight uses like heavy effects, and the engine isn't really meant for fights with effects like that, which causes a lot of lag. We're always trying our best to optimize the game via engine upgrades. You know, we always doing what we can. So yeah, it's the best way I can answer that.
So this question is not necessarily about high roller, but more about you, Crazy, and your experience. So the whatchamacallit asked, it's a little detached from high roller, but do you have any advice for anyone who's aspiring to be a game designer or aspiring to be on the Clash team?
As for joining the Clash team, it depends on what role you're going for. The best thing I can say is make some work before you join, then you can show on your application things you've made. That would definitely help a lot, especially if it's very detailed and polished. And what was the first part, like, about just becoming a game designer in general?
Yeah.
The biggest thing about being a game designer is just understanding your player base and just trying to think, like, what kind of game do you want to make, what kind of players are going to play it, and how can I make this game accessible for all these kinds of people, you know. It's a bit of a complicated topic, but I also recommend taking a look at Game Maker's Toolkit. They're a YouTube channel, and they explain a lot about game design. A lot more than I can do.
That's an awesome answer and a great resource for them as well. Ellie Cat says, is it true that High Roller Phase 3 music came before the actual boss fight?
Yeah, the music was made, and then they were like, let's make the Phase 3 based on this music. And then, yeah.
That's
the rest
awesome.
is history.
So I don't think you can answer this question, but will there be any new drops for High Roller?
I can't answer that. Sorry.
But Crocs, we wanted to make sure that we read that for you. Malt Salt asked, was the Buck and Dave fanship considered when designing High Roller?
Fanship? I don't think fanships are ever considered usually.
Well, there you
go.
go.
Disappoint you.
There you go. Staw, I also don't think that they can answer that question. Is there another fusion manager that you'd create revolving around 2 different managers, and which would it be and how would it be designed?
Yeah, I feel like that's a bit of a loaded question. I can't really answer that.
Carlos asks, are the lowballers Toons? If so, how come they're teaming up with the Cogs?
So because High Roller's not a canon instance, I'd like to think that the lowballers are a figment of your imagination.
Oh, I love that.
But in the end, the low ballers can be whatever you want them to be.
I like the figment of your imagination. They're not actually there, right? We're just imagining them in the playgrounds.
Yeah.
Jilly, I also don't think that he can answer that question of will there be a High Roller plush. When it comes to anticipatory questions, I do know that the Clash team tries to make everything very exciting when it does get released, or if there's any, you know, they don't want to create any stir of what could potentially happen. Am I correct, Crazy?
Yeah, you got it. You hit the nail on the head.
But I mean, I do have my Buck Ruffler plush with me. Of course.
Oh, I have mine too. They was so well done.
I do actually have a question about that. I mean, obviously it's not on High Roller, but what encouraged the Clash team to come out with the Buck Ruffler plush as their very first plushie?
Well, Buck Ruffler is the first manager you encounter, so it's the manager that most people have seen. And also, he's just very beloved. Like, you just can't go wrong with a Buck Ruffler plushie.
You really can't. You really can't. Do you ever run into issues developing battles around original TTO mechanics?
I definitely do think so. Like, sometimes you do kind of hit a wall, but I can't really say more than that.
Sure, of course. Are there any other questions that you guys have for Crazy regarding High Roller or April Toons or anything regarding Corporate Clash that you have questions about? Do you have any other fun facts to share with us, Crazy?
Michael, who's your favorite game designer? Why is it me? I love you, Triple. Yo, for reference, Triple is he was a QA member, then he became a game designer, and now we recently promoted him to game design director. So everyone say W Triple Pain in the chat.
So is it safe to say that Triple Pain is your favorite game designer then? Or your favorite game design director, I think is a better question.
He's awesome, but I don't know if I would say he's my favorite. I'm sorry, bro.
Oh, no. Oh, ouch. See, now you've got two people. You've got two people asking about your aura. You're just radiating a crazy aura right now.
I'm sorry. I just can't help it.
Mimi says low baller final boss win. Now that would be fun. That would be pretty fun. I don't know how they talk to us though. Like,
that would be really cool.
Well, if that is all the questions that we have, oh, here we go. Matt has another question. This is not on High Roller. Was anything changed with face? I don't know if they can answer about this year, but let me ask about previous years. So has anything changed with the Face the Family over the years from the first year that it was released to now?
A few minor changes, and this year there will also be another few minor changes, but nothing too big to write home about.
Okay. Don't write home about it, Matt. Do you have any plans in the next few years for any new April Toons fights, or do you think that for right now, High Roller is here and he's our April Toons boss to stay?
If we did have plans, I can't really tell you, so
sure.
Just have to wait and see.
I like that, Malt Salt. I also don't know if they can answer that question either, if other managers would be able to fight High Roller or defeat High Roller in a fight. I honestly feel like High Roller is he's the biggest boss though, unless he were to do like the Face the Family, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, it can go in any way, but in my opinion, High Roller, he transcends Toontown. He's straight up unbeatable.
Yeah, true. Well, thank you so much, Crazy. I really appreciate your time today. I have really enjoyed learning a little bit more about High Roller. We got some really fun nuggets. It's kind of crazy to think that High Roller was almost just like a super massive duck shuffler in the middle of, you know, Cashbot HQ inside of a casino. That is so crazy to think about.
Yeah,
so,
right?
Hey, maybe someday we'll see like a comic on that or something. That would be pretty fun. But thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you. Are there any other last tidbits that you'd like to share with us?
The best thing I can say is I absolutely love this community. You guys are awesome. So, yeah, that's really it. The future of Corporate Clash is super bright, and I can't wait till you guys see everything we have planned for the future.
That's awesome, and we cannot wait as well. I mean, I'm sure that you see all of the different like fan fictions about the TTCC managers and obviously how active this community is. So thank you so much for spending your time with us today and for answering our questions. And we can't wait to see what's coming next. So thank you for everything that you do and for all of the time and hard work that you put into this game. It does not, it does not go unnoticed. We all know how much work the Clash team puts into everything that goes into the game, and I think I speak for everybody when I say that we appreciate all of the love and effort that you guys have put into making this game, something that we can look forward to every single day.
Yeah, we do it all for you guys, We love seeing our community be happy.
Well, thank you so much, Crazy. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I appreciate you joining us. And go High Roller!
Go High Roller! I hope you have an amazing day too. Take care, chat. Take care, Rosie. Peace out.
Bye. All right, my friends, well, that concludes our High Roller Q&A. So thank you guys so much for joining me today for the High Roller Q&A, for asking questions, for sticking around to listen to the answers that Crazy gave. That was really cool. There was so much that I did not know about, and that was some really cool, fun lore about the creation of High Roller, kind of where that development came from. And obviously, there's no spoilers for anything that's coming next, but I think that, again, I speak for everybody when I say thank you so much to Crazy and the entire Toontown Clash team who's put so much love and effort into the game to create managers like High Roller. I know that this is the third year that we're going to be seeing him, but like Crazy said, there's different things in Toontown Corporate Clash. Every single update, they release updates very frequently, so definitely check out their website for different update notes. And I can't wait to do April Toons with you guys, which will be super, super fun.